Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Richard Roosevelt. He has just released his all new record called Pray For Me, and I am super excited to talk to him all about it. Richard, I want to thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing?
Doing really well. Really appreciate you having me
You're very
this
welcome.
afternoon.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that we can make this work. Um, I don't want to waste time talking about anything else. I want to talk about music here. So let's hop right into it. I had a chance to listen and I really enjoyed what I heard. But what stood out to me the most is that this is a pretty lyrically dense record. So I was hoping that you could kind of kick us off and tell me what it's about. Tell everyone what it's about.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Pray for Me is essentially about me playing on my religious side as well as the secular side of not only my music but also my life and my lifestyle. I grew up pretty religious, but as most religious people who grow up in uh, religious households, you kind of break away from that. So it's kind of a conversation more so about the yin and yang of balancing act of trying to live a quote unquote righteous lifestyle versus battling with some of the vices that we all have in this life. So
Nice. And so I'm going to go ahead and assume that instead of each song being its own separate little story, that there's sort of like a grand, all encompassing message of the record.
right, so essentially Pray For Me in itself is exactly that. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking for anybody listening who cares, you know, say a couple Hail Marys for me because I'm going through it like everybody else. We're all
Right.
struggling, whether it's, the pandemic stuff to, getting back into the mix of the real world. But then, also, just fighting with the yin and yang
Yeah,
of
man.
what's right and what's wrong. So, you know, um, that's essentially it's a story, essentially.
Totally. Do you feel like a weight lifted off of your shoulders after having actually taken the time to write these problems and create stories out of them?
Absolutely. I mean, and the more you listen to the record, I think there's bits and pieces that, everyone can take um, from my life experience by just listening to the record. And yeah, it was very
Hmm.
therapeutic to write those lyrics and get them out. And I was gonna wait until 2022, but I was just like, I gotta drop this now. I gotta get it
I
out.
feel you.
So
Well, hey, that just means bigger things are allowed to come in 2022. You got it out of
exactly.
the way. As much as I love the context of this record and really what it's all about, listening to it is quite the musical experience as well. The production is fantastic. There's some great original beats on it too. I want to know, can you give a background on the production? Did you have any outside help, or is this fully you putting this together?
Yeah, so it's a combination of me producing and then various producers that I've worked with in the past and that I continue to work with. That I just started working with,
Sure.
to name a few: Brandon Lewis, Gengar Arcade is one. Excuse me, that was a big influence. Pandora Nights was another influence for this record. A lot of talented guys that I was able to reach out to and utilize their services to help me put this vision together.
That's
So
awesome. So how do you work on the process side? Like, how does a song start for you? Does it start with the lyric, or does it start in production, like
yeah,
after the track?
usually starts in production for me.
Okay.
I don't like to say, "Hey, I'm going to write this particular type of song and then try to produce a beat for it." I usually let the beat kind of set the tone, and
Nice.
then I take it from there. That's usually how my process works for making music.
Very cool.
So
So, I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed this record, and I'm so happy that it was able to come out at the end of this year. But I want to talk a little bit about the future here. Do you have any
mhm.
plans for a follow-up? And even if you don't, do you have any plans to further experiment with your sound going forward?
Yeah, I constantly experiment with my sound, and I think that's what kind of makes my music pretty unique. I
Hmm.
mean, you can hear influences in my music, sure.
Sure.
Like, you'll hear, the Drake and the Kanye and
Sure.
any kind of more popular. You'll hear some of that, but I think the difference is that the content is what really separates me
Right.
from any of the more popular artists that you'll hear today. And moving forward, I think sonically, I just try to find different sounds, you know, like this
Totally.
album, you hear a lot of organs and piano and,
Yeah.
you know, synthesizers and different stuff like that. And, you know, moving forward, I probably already have 5 tracks completed for my
Damn.
next LP that I'm
There you
working
go.
on. So, you know, my output level is pretty high. And really, I just started, I actually took a pretty long hiatus before the pandemic hit, and that kind of really
Sure.
gave me a lot more time to get back into the studio and produce and record. So I kind of just hit the ground running since that, and I haven't really taken my foot off the gas pedal.
That's awesome. And honestly, I think that's what I liked about this record the most is that as interesting as the instrumentation was and you pull from so many genres in your music, the sole focus of the record for me at least was the lyricism. It
Yeah,
like it challenges the listener to actually make a connection within the music instead of just like, oh, this is a song to vibe out to or this is a song to dance to.
right,
It's not saying that
right,
you couldn't. It's that
right.
I think, I mean, again, I can't speak for you, but I think the focus of it was really about the stories being told.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you know, it's all there. You know,
Sure.
you got the slappers, and that's my process. Like I wanted to slap.
Of
You
course.
know, I want you to feel it in your chest, and hopefully
Right.
when you listen to that, you get that. But then you add the lyrics on top. It's just kind of like that perfect mix, at least in my opinion. You
I
know,
agree.
so.
So how long have you been making music for?
Oh, I've probably been making music since I was like 12, 13 years old,
Oh,
you know,
damn.
like,
Okay.
yeah, like years and years. And it all started with, you know, freestyling with my cousins and,
Mhm.
you know, doing stuff like that, you know, on rides to the mall.
Hell
And
yeah.
it really kind of set off while I was in college. And now I just, you know, with being able to have your own home studio and being able to roll out of bed or stay up late and just, you know, come up with ideas as you go. I mean, with technology nowadays, you can do a lot from your own home studio, you
Endless.
know. Yeah. So
So then, all right, how about this? What was like the transition period of just like screwing around with you and your friends, freestyling to actually being like, I'm gonna take these skills and I'm gonna record something official? Was there a like what was the breaking point for you?
I mean, I've always just when I've done music, I've always wanted to do it, you know, and tell a story. Because you know,
Yeah.
I'm an '80s baby. You know, like I come from the era
Sure.
where like when guys made music, you know, we listened to the early 2000s rap, late '90s rap. Like every artist that really came out, they had their own style. You
Yeah.
know, from Ludacris to Nelly to 50 Cent to, you know, and a lot of times these days, a lot of the guys sound the same. It's cookie cutter.
Oh
So
yes. Too much of
yeah,
the
so
same.
yeah, you know, so I try to continue that with the music that I make. Like, of course, you're going to hear influences. I mean, we all
Sure.
have our influences in our music, but I at the heart, man, it's all about the lyrics and the story. And I've always really been like that. Like, don't get me wrong, you know, we freestyle in the studio and screw off
Yeah.
as much as anybody else,
That's
but
the fun part.
yeah,
It
you
can't all
know,
be business and work. You got to screw around and let it
right,
loose.
right. So, but when I put something out, like, you know, I'm going to put my time behind it.
Exactly.
And you know, that's how I get my best work whenever I have a cohesive project that I'm trying to put together. You know, that's
Absolutely.
when I'm at my best.
Nice.
So
So about the entire process, from really like the thinking about the song to the recording to the producing to finally hitting publish, is there something specifically that you look forward to the most?
you know, honestly, the best part for me is sharing it with my peers, like
Yeah,
close
getting
friends,
feedback, like the
and
feedback part before
getting
you.
that initial feedback from people in my circle that I know and that I trust, who I've done music with,
Sure.
you know, and just kind of getting their feedback during the creative process. You know, like I like Pray for Me, the title track and also
Yeah.
track number one. Like I didn't even have a quote unquote rapping part in that at first,
Yeah.
and I sent it to Brandon Lewis, who's also an artist who's featured on a track on there, and he's like, dude, like it's all here, but I want to hear you rap on this. So I just appreciated that because it pushed me to be like, yo, like you got to turn up, man. Like, don't stop here. Like, and
Totally.
I enjoy the probably the creative process the most you know.
Right.
And I probably struggle the most with the like promoting myself part.
Of course.
I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis, I want to get in character and stay in character and not talk to
I get
anybody,
it. I get
you
it.
know. So, which is why
Good
I reached out
stuff.
to you guys,
Yeah, man. Well, that's why we're here. I think the reason is just like there's so many unbelievably talented artists that don't have the outlet or the opportunity to talk about their work. It doesn't matter how big you are as an artist, and it doesn't matter how small you are. Everyone
Right,
puts the same effort, if not more, when you're smaller and independent,
right.
and you deserve the time to talk about it. So, um,
Yeah.
I wanna
I mean,
I
look,
wanna talk about anything music related.
yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. And look, I don't like everything that I hear, just like I'm
Course
sure you
not.
may not like everything that you hear, but I can appreciate somebody at least putting themselves out there,
Yep.
creative wise. That takes a lot of guts, man. And
It does. There's
you know, I,
beauty in everything.
yeah, it takes a lot of guts, and I give a lot of people a lot of credit for even stepping up and trying to do that.
I
So
agree. Are you playing live shows or do you have plans to do so?
yes, yes. I'm in the Philadelphia area, so
Okay,
this winter, it's about to get pretty busy around here
nice.
as things start to open up.
Sure, sure.
So yeah, I plan on doing quite a few performances off of songs off this newest project.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's the plan.
All right, so then hypothetically speaking, if you had to perform one song off of this record to really reel an
Mm,
audience in, what would it
right.
be?
That's really tough because I like them all.
Of
Um, well, it would have to slap.
course.
So, um, if I had to do one, I probably would do like Richie Rose
Okay.
because I think that has a nice East Coast, you know, slap to it. It's very
Sure,
lyrical, it's
sure.
catchy. It's only about 2 minutes long, so I think it's enough to, hook them in to be like,
Think
okay,
so.
I
Yeah,
want I
I'll
want to
listen to
I want to hear
more.
some
I'll
more
stick
from this
around.
guy.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's pretty lyrical. It's kind of got that Wu-Tang vibe to it.
Totally.
Um, yeah. So I probably would start with something like that and then
Mhm.
segue into more of the creative stuff, you
That's how it
know.
works, man. You got to hook them in and then show them the real you
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
superficial stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so
So
one more hypothetical question for you.
hmm
In a perfect world, what does the next year of your life look like?
the next year of my life would be um me pushing the music to my fullest ability to try to gain some ground um, with getting my name out there
Mhm.
and just getting people to hear my music. Because like selfishly, I think it's all there. Like
Of
not
course.
to sound arrogant, I think it's all there. It's got to hit people's ears.
Right.
I think I'm at that point where the product's there. It's got to people got to listen to it. They have access to it, and I think that's what I really got to focus on. Whether it's doing live shows or promoting, putting more money into promotion online, into services like these. Just trying to get my name out there, and ultimately producing and recording more caliber music.
Sure.
Just flood the market. That's how I
For
feel.
real. It's all about the networking and the getting out there. And I mean, I always say this, it's never been easier to make quality music, but it's also
Right.
never been more difficult to get your music heard. And that's kind of just the weird music era we're living in. And don't know if it's going to
Absolutely.
change, but like good music like yours deserves to be listened to. And that's a fact. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm going to push
Thank you.
people in the direction to listen as much as I can.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah, man.
appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I've got a couple more questions for you at this point. So, second to last question is basically what are you listening to in your free time? Are there any local artists you can recommend, or basically what's on your playlist these days that you're enjoying?
What's funny is that I actually listen to I really only listen to other music when I work out. So like when I
Yeah,
go
that
for a
makes
run
sense.
or like I hit the gym, like, I'll throw on Donda or,
Sure, sure.
Certified Lover Boy,
Yeah.
or I listen to my friends, in
Yeah.
their music. I listen to, Nico Bars and what he's working on, who's on
Hmm.
the album. I listen to Brandon Lewis. I listen to Ganga Arcade. I listen to, local artists from my hometown in Carlisle, PA, Ghoulie and, the General. I listen to all types of people,
Awesome.
but mostly during workouts because I try not to let too much outside influence affect what I'm doing,
That's a good call. I hear
you
that a
know,
lot because yeah,
because
you
it's,
hear too much music, you start making that music.
yeah, I've actually done it on accident before. I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds like something.
Exactly. Hey,
Scrap
but at least
that.
you realized it before getting a lawsuit thrown your way.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong.
Which, hey, maybe
Yeah,
not the worst idea because that's free publicity right there.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
Screwed up. But all right, Richard, I have one more question for you. Basically, the question is for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
Give it a chance. Um, Listen to the lyrics. Um, and get ready for, a story. Get ready for an experience. Get ready for something that is not just braggadocious, you know. I, I may have some influences, like I said, from Kanye or Drake, but
Sure.
I'll never be that. I'm not making music about, my private jet or, like
Sure. Not
it's a little
yet.
more, yeah, well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
kidding.
I think there's some, there's some pleasantness in that, that, I'm coming from a place that may be similar to the one, that you're in,
Sure.
that you can maybe relate to a little bit more. I'm not untouchable. You know what I'm saying? It's very, my music's very accessible,
Mhm.
like it's easy on the ears and it's got melodies and lyrics and, the production is all there. So, just give it a chance, and tell a friend if you like what you hear.
There you go. I love it, man. Richard, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and doing this and giving some really great answers. And for everyone
Thank
else
you.
out there, you're very welcome. For everyone else out there, Pray For Me is out. Listen to it, stream it, send it to your friends that you think might enjoy it. And again, I just want to thank you so much for the fantastic answers. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll definitely be talking soon.
Yeah, thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
You're
Pray
very
for me out
welcome.
now.
There you go, man. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
later. Have a good rest of your
Yep.
day. See
Take
ya.
care, man. Yep.